Requesting recon.
This is Target 0. Look up. Flyover.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Fifa here again, and today what I have for you is a long-awaited video. I get asked this question all the time, and I'm sure by the time you guys probably know what it is. But today is my settings video. So obviously I get quite a lot of high kill games, playing some tournaments and stuff, and everybody always wants to know, like, what is the best settings to use to try and be a good player. So today that's what we're going to be covering, so let's jump right in. Alright, so first and foremost, I'd say my most significant setting is my button layout, which is bumper jumper tactical. It's a little bit of a weird one, and I'll go ahead and explain that now. Basically, guys, the way bumper jumper works is if you don't have $200 to spend on a custom controller with buttons on the back, you can still jump shot without having to do the classic move your thumb off of your analog stick to jump. So you'll see right here on my controller, I actually jump with this button L1 and aim with this button L2, and I hold my controller like this, like so. And then it's just the standard tactical layout. I slide with my R3, my right analog stick, and it basically works like that. This allows me to jump shot, keep aiming and shooting while I'm jumping in the sky, or drop shotting, or whatever I want to do, so I can get the biggest advantage in a gunfight. It's a little bit of a weird one. A lot of people choose stick and move, where you jump with your analog sticks, but I find that throws your aim off a little bit, especially when you're panicking in a close quarters situation. Next up is quite a big one. We got the dead zone. Everybody's always asking about what this is, and not everybody really knows what it is. Dead zone basically is the amount of push you have to put on your right analog stick, your aiming analog stick, before it moves. So a lot of people's controller have what you will have heard of called stick drift, and that's basically your controller moves on its own. So I get stick drift quite a lot because I play a lot, and I don't want to have to buy a new controller every single time this happens, because it happens relatively quickly after you buy one. So you stick the dead zone up and you don't get that as much. I find that it throws my I find it throws my aim assist off a little bit, which is quite annoying, but it's better than nothing. I've actually just had to move my dead zone up to 0.15. The stick drift is pretty rough. I'd say the ideal dead zone you want to have for the best aim is 0.05. That's only really going to happen if you have a brand new controller, so don't be afraid to bump that up just a little bit. Next up, we got my sensitivity. This is probably the one I get asked for the most. Maybe not the most important, but definitely the one I get asked for the most. My horizontal is 7. My vertical is also 7. Some people suggest you put one a little bit higher than the other, but I like to keep them both the same just for the sake of simplicity, and I find this is a good sensitivity to have, especially for my hip-fire build MP5, running around close corners, spinning on people. And here's the strange one. A lot of people question me on this all the time. Why is my ADS sensitivity so low? I find that if you're spinning around quickly close combat, you don't really need a high ADS sensitivity, as really the only time I ADS is when I'm using my assault rifle, longer range gunfights, and there I want to be choosing precision over speed, because it's not often you're going to be needing to spin very quickly with an AR, especially if you've got your map awareness up. You're going to know where most people are, and you should just be beaming one person at a time. So my low zoom is 0.65, my high zoom is 0.6, mainly for sniping, because I like to be accurate with those headshots, and it seems to work for me. A lot of people opt for a higher one, but I find that pretty perfect, and you'll see a lot of pro players who use lower sensitivities on the whole. I don't think there's any benefit really to being horizontal 20, vertical 20, other than like showing off. A couple players obviously do use it and absolutely fry. I know Mutex beams with the 2020. That's just not for me. Next up, we have my aim response curve type. Now, I did a lot of reading and watching of this over the last couple days to fully get an understanding for what it is, because everybody's always asking me about it. And there's basically 3 different curve types. You got standard, linear, dynamic. Now, I'm not going to go into this video because it's super complex and it would take a long time to explain. If you do want a video on that, just let me know. But I use the dynamic one. I find this is the best for me. Now, every curve type has like a graph that corresponds to the amount that you push your thumbstick and the way your controller reacts to your movement. I choose dynamic because, as they describe it, is a reverse S-curve, which basically means when you tap the stick a little bit, it reacts in the same way as linear. It kind of moves relative to how you push it, but then when you get to that mid-range area, it slows down your aim a lot, allowing you to be more precise. And like I said, I want to be, when I'm close quarters, the tiny little movements or the extreme movements, I want them to be quick. I want to be spinning on my enemies if there's a guy behind me, but I want to maintain that precision aiming at distance, like with the assault rifles, so dynamic is perfect for that kind of play style. If you guys play a little bit slower, maybe a standard or a linear might be a little bit better, but I find the dynamic just to be across the board just the best one, especially if you're going for higher kills. I find that most good players use dynamic, so I would stick to that if I was you. I like the controller vibration to be disabled. I find that when my controller is vibrating, it puts my aim off a little bit. I'm not really sure why. And my aim assist, I keep it as standard. I've tried precision and focusing, but it seems just to put my aim off a lot. It doesn't really seem very relevant, to be honest. I did try them both for a couple of days. I forgot, not on purpose actually. I left it on, but then I realized, like, why can't I kill anyone? Turn my aim assist back to standard, and I was just absolutely fine. So that was that. The next few settings aren't that important. The weapon mount activator, that's all just personal preference, what you like. But I like to have just the contextual tap for my use/reload behavior. That basically means when I'm looting on the floor, I just have to tap square to pick something up, or X if you're on Xbox. I don't like to hold it down. It just makes things a lot quicker when you're looting. You'll notice when I'm running around picking up loot, I just do it really quick. Just tap. You see what you want, you tap on it. You get out of a car, you tap. It does take a bit of getting used to, not getting out of a car by accident when you reload. That's definitely a problem. But I got used to that a long time ago in ground war when I played pubs. So I didn't really have a problem adjusting to it in Warzone, although a lot of people definitely did. I also keep the tap to slide feature because that makes it possible to slide cancel, so you can obviously run around, move a lot quicker around the map. I do not like tactical sprint. I've tried it. I hate it. It's not for me. It's probably better for stick drift, but again, I don't know. It's just personal preference. That's all it comes down to. I have my parachute auto redeploy off just because of the parachute glitch where you fell off of a curb and you pulled your parachute out. I think they might fix that now, but I didn't want to risk it anyway. Next up, we got my brightness. I have my brightness super high so I can see people in dark corners. Maybe a little bit too high, but it works for me. I did have it a lot higher, but then people on my stream complained about how bright it was. I personally would have it higher just so you can see everyone in dark corners, but for the sake of the content, I have it just at 60. I have also turned my film grain off and motion blur off and weapon motion blur off just to make the game a little bit crisper, easier on my eyes, and I would suggest if you guys haven't done that, you probably have. It's a pretty standard thing to do, but if you haven't, definitely do that. Next up, we got my audio. I haven't messed around with audio too much. I find that like default settings seem to be pretty good on the whole, so my audio mix being home theater, I've noticed that was the default, and I've kind of just left it on that since, and that seems to be what most people are using. I also have, but I have my my overall sound quite low because this game is loud. Like when I play with a lot of people on stream, if you guys ever watch me, sometimes in videos, you might hear my teammates saying, "Hey, we're in a car right now, or we're gliding in." I can't hear you. I hate that. I love hearing my teammates. And then every now and then I'll just mute or turn up my game sound on my mix amp, just crank it up. So I can hear when I'm in an intense gunfight, but that's about it. There's nothing really too important there. And then finally, the classic crossplay, gotta be enabled. There's no point in turning it off. It has to be on in tournaments. So I just leave it on most of the time unless I'm playing with people who don't want it on. And that's about it, guys. That's my settings. Try them out for yourself. I always think settings for the most part are very personalized. Your sensitivity might not work the same as mine. I can only give you pointers, but I definitely think lowering your ADS sensitivity on the whole will make your aim a lot better. The lower you go, probably the better. Try it out. Give it a go. Maybe it'll work for you. Maybe it doesn't. If not, though, if you are struggling with being able to jump shot or drop shot and you can't buy a scarf or a battle beaver or whatever you want, definitely try out Bumper Jumper Tactical. It's a banging button layout. I've been using it since Black Ops 3, and I've definitely been preaching it for a long time, and I've actually turned a lot of people onto it. Definitely the best button layout if you aren't someone who can afford a scuff or want to get a scuff or whatever. You just want a regular old PS4 controller. You want to go and buy a $40 controller whenever it breaks. Definitely give this one a go. I hope you guys did find this video very useful. Let me know what you think of my settings. Let me know what you guys got. And yeah, try them out for yourself. Take a few of the tips I've given you on board, and hopefully it works for you. I hope it satisfied your need for my settings, and hopefully people stop coming in my chat and asking for my settings every 5 minutes. We'll just send them this way to the video. They can check it out and know exactly what I use. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like. If you're new, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.